There's one on your level.
Above you, Oscar, above you.
I shot him.
Stop the cap.
Bro, I can't even see.
Cracked him.
Good.
Let's go! Fucking first win on the second game. You know, puta. Sound like a fucking soccer player. Warzone as we know it is about to change. Now you probably clicked on this video wondering what exactly is it that changed in this game, what is it that I'm talking about, and that's exactly what I'm going to be going over today. Now I'm going to be fully transparent with you guys. This is just a speculation. This is my opinion based off of only 2 games. Now obviously I'm not going to know everything. I'm going to miss a couple of pointers, but I think I have a pretty good idea of where Warzone is heading, and it's up to you as the viewer or as the player to decide whether it's a good change or a bad change. So getting straight into it, we're going to talk about the biggest W's in the game. And honestly, that has to go off to the map and the proximity chat. Now the thing about this map is that this map is literally everything that Caldera wasn't. This map is like Caldera and Verdansk having a baby, and it's perfect. Not only is it bigger than both of the maps, but it has a little bit of everything. You have the city-like POIs, the ones with the buildings, and then you have the open land, which is something that Caldera was missing. The reason why most people hated Caldera, including myself, is because it was kind of the same thing all around. You had the same landscape. It was either trees or hills, and there wasn't really anything to distinguish like you were heading into a different location other than like the hangars or peak, I guess. But this map honestly came out really good. The colors look amazing, and it's kind of funny because like I mentioned, this map is bigger than Verdansk and Caldera, but it doesn't feel like it takes forever to get from point A to point B like it did on Caldera. And honestly, that's already a W in my book, because honestly, already as it is, Warzone is heading into a more slower paced gameplay, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about that later. But you know, it would be cool if they added something like biomes. You know, you had one snowy area over here, one tropical area over here, and then maybe a little area that's just a desert. You know, that would be pretty cool. I mean, like I said, I still have a lot to explore on this game. I haven't actually experienced the whole map myself, but you know, this is just some cool ideas that I'm just thinking of on the fly. And you know, it'd be cool, like for example, Christmas is coming up soon. What if they did an update where like the whole map is snowy or something? You know, things like that is what I feel like Warzone is missing. Fortnite, for example, does a lot of this, and just like other games too in general, like GTA, whenever it's Christmas, they add the little snow update, and then everyone's hyped to see Los Santos covered in snow because it's different, you know. And that's how you keep the game alive. You keep updating stuff, you keep changing stuff. I'm not saying like change everything also. I mean, that's the last thing we got to do. I mean, look at Verdansk. I feel like we didn't need to get a whole new map. We just needed to find a way to get rid of the hackers, but you know, it is what it is. We're way past that now. And now moving on to the proximity chat, man, that is the biggest W in this game. I'm honestly excited to see how much content comes from this, because it's just like, it's never ending. You don't know who you're gonna run into, you don't know what that person is gonna say. And also, by the way, it makes the game a lot easier. But you know, proximity chat helps you catch your opponents off guard. You'll catch someone having a whole conversation, and then next thing you know, they go all quiet because they're like, oh shit, they're coming. You know, that's just hilarious to me. And the fact that this isn't a BR of Warzone or just Call of Duty in general, like, you know you're gonna run into some funny ass people, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds with this. But aside from the good stuff, there also has to be some bad stuff. I wouldn't say this is necessarily bad, this is more like personal based, but here's where I'm gonna talk about why Warzone is changing, and we're heading into a much slower paced game. So what I mean by that is, the Warzone we know is you just run and gun, try to get as much kills as you can, and you had all this movement, you would try to do all these fancy stuff, break ankles. In this game, that's not the case no more. Obviously, I mean, they removed movement completely, so already the game is slower paced just by movement itself. I mean, you're just running and that's it. That's all you can do. If you don't have double tap on or whatever it was called, I don't remember, you're gonna be running forever basically. But aside from that, what makes the game slower is the looting. I see what they were trying to do. They were trying to make it more of like a process of elimination. Like, you go into a chest, you see all these different things, and then you gotta kind of decide what it is that you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. I get it, because at the end of the day, in a real survival scenario, that's exactly what you're going to be doing, right? But at the end of the day, this is a game, and people don't really want to think that much, especially the casuals. I mean, who really wants to sit there and just spend so much time trying to decide what it is that you want to get from this chest, or what it is that you want to get from this book bag, or whatever? And this is bad because I often found myself in situations where I was scared to loot just because I would be taking so long and I didn't know who was going to be pulling up on me or from where or when, or you know. I mean, battle royale in general is always nerve-wracking because you don't know where your opponents are coming from. But now that you have to spend so much time just trying to figure out what it is that you want to loot, that makes the game a lot slower than it already is. And there's other little things too, like there's not enough contracts that I've seen on the map. The buy stations is another issue. There's not a lot of buy stations around, and then you often find yourself running into an enemy team because everyone's trying to go to the buy station, right? You all gotta buy something. That's what gives you a better advantage in the game. And if there's only one buy station in the mass location of where everybody's at, well, there you go. That's your troubles right there. So, you know, I feel like they should be adding more buy stations into the game. Hopefully soon, not later, like 3 months later. But I personally just think that's something that's essential and needs to be changed ASAP. And speaking of buy stations, here we have the loadout situations. So there's two situations actually from loadouts that it's actually hilarious. So the first one is loadouts in general, they drop after a specific time, but it's not like how it used to be in the Warzone before. Not everybody has their own loadout drop for them. From what I've seen so far, and my understanding is like 1 or 2 loadouts drop in a specific area, and then it's like whoever's in that area, you guys gotta fight for your loadout basically. Pretty much first come first serve, and if you don't get it, well then you're not getting your loadout guns. Simple as that. And honestly, again, I don't think this caters to either the sweaty player or the casual player. If I'm being honest, the sweaty players will have the advantage more than the casual players, because the casual players, they just like to hide, they like to be very tactical and move at only moments where they know that everything is clear. If they hear any shots around or any movement, most likely that player is not moving from their spot. So you guys can see now what I mean about this is more of an advantage to like the sweaty players, because they're the ones who are always going to be going out blazing, trying to get their loadouts, because I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? They want their loadout guns. And then the second loadout issue is the fact that when you go to the buy station to buy your loadout guns, not only do you get to get only one gun, but it's one gun per person. So before, as you know, when we would go to a buy station, we would buy a loadout, it would drop a crate, and then everybody gets their loadout from that crate. It's not like that no more. Everybody individually has to get their own guns, and here's where the issue lies. Everybody is going to become selfish. Now, I know everybody who's watching this had to at least have that one teammate who didn't want to drop their money because they wanted to keep it for whatever reason. Well, that's gonna happen more often now, given the fact that you have to buy your own loadout guns. No one can buy it for you, so therefore everyone's just gonna want to keep their money. Like if you're playing with random fills and you're that one random part of a team that's 3 friends, you're probably the last person who's gonna get their loadout guns. Now, of course, the way to get by this is to gather your own money, but I mean, battle royale is meant to be a team game, right? And if their focus on this game was to be more team oriented, then that was a bad move, because that's just making everybody more selfish, like I just mentioned, and it just doesn't work out. And speaking of loadouts, I've seen a lot of people complaining about this. You cannot customize your own perks. I think they give you about like 6 different classes with perks in them, and you can only pick from those. And on top of that, overkill is not a perk in any of those packs, meaning that as of right now in Warzone, if you were to get your loadout from a crate, you will not be having both your guns at the same time unless you previously got your loadout guns from somewhere else. So basically, you are being forced to get your loadout 2 times if you want to have your primary long range weapon and then a close range weapon as your secondary. I personally don't really like this aspect of the game. I mean, I feel like it's just so extra. I liked it the way it was before, where we all had control of our own perks and our own guns. It just feels too extra. It's unnecessary, and I hope they do revert that back at one point, but that's what we have to deal with right now. And lastly, I'm just gonna go over a couple things that aren't horrible, but I feel like they can be improved or changed. And we're gonna just start off with the circle splits. So on top of everything I just mentioned, you already see how the gameplay is becoming a lot slower, meaning that you're gonna most likely be getting less kills, and it's gonna be harder to get that 20 bomb or that 30 bomb. And with the 3 circle splits, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a good idea, but seeing it now in action and actually playing the game, I honestly don't like it. The reason being is, for example, if you are a person who's after that high kill game, right? And you're in a circle, you wipe that circle out, or let's just say no one happened to be in that circle when you split off. Well, not only are you not able to get any kills now, but you literally cannot do anything until it's time for you to merge into the middle. And honestly, that's a big problem because that makes the game boring. You have no motive, you have no mission, there's nothing for you to do other than just wait. And the last thing I feel like they could improve on is the user interface. This user interface is giving me Blackout vibes, which is kind of like a step back, especially with all the new stuff that they added in Warzone, where you can see how much plates everybody has and what kill streaks they have. Those little things should be in this Warzone. Without things like that were a step forward, it's just we're now taking a step back. So I hope they add it back into the game. But yeah, overall, this is my thoughts on Warzone 2. I obviously still have to play the game more to be able to have a better understanding of why they did these things. But just playing these two games, this is what I saw. And this is why I'm saying Warzone will be changing from what it used to be. Overall, though, I'm still having fun. I think it's a good game, but it's definitely something better than Caldera in my book, if I'm being honest. So for those of you who haven't gotten the chance to play the game, I hope this has helped you, and just kind of a little guidance for you guys when you drop into Warzone 2 for the first time. But yeah, if there's anything else you guys think I missed, just let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to see more Warzone 2 content from me, make sure you guys smash that subscribe button, because I am going to start going crazy with this upload. Like, listen, I'm not even gonna go too into it. I'm gonna just let the uploads do the talking. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't let me catch you in Al Mazrah, Georgie.